Yo, what is going on, Nitrocytes? It is your boy, the Nitro General here, and welcome back to another video. Now, in today's video, we are going to be talking about the paid versus, the premium versus non-premium plans for Pokemon Home. Now, Pokemon Home is not out yet. I am really sad to say that it was not out. On the website, they had that date hidden in there. That was February 7th, I think it was, which was last Friday, and I was like, well, why would they put that in there if it's not supposed to be out? A-Drive and everybody else is like, yeah, it probably won't be out then. But I was pretty confident that Nintendo would be nice to us, and unfortunately, they were not nice to us and kind of just hid that date in there just to kind of be a-holes. And it kind of sucks. If you want to know more about why that, go and watch the video that I posted a couple days ago going over a new rant room that I posted talking about Pokemon and why that they're kind of irritated me a little bit in the last year. But yeah, so you can go check that out. So we did get some more news about Pokemon Home yesterday. Not enough just to make one video going over it. There were some more screenshots from the Japanese website or whatever that have been released. Really just showing off some more aspects of Pokemon Home. Nothing really big. And then they, depending on what source you look at, it says Pokemon Home is coming out either mid-February or February. A lot of people are saying, oh, well, Pokemon Day is on the 27th. That's when it's coming out. I do not think it's coming out on Pokemon Day. I feel like it will be out before that, because if it was coming out on Pokemon Day, they would have said that it was, because they are releasing the new mythical Pokemon on Pokemon Day. I don't know if they're releasing it, but they're at least like being like, hey, this is the new mythical Pokemon, the typing the name, what it looks like. There will be a silhouette of it that will be released soon too, before Pokemon Day. And then I know there'll be more max raid events and stuff, and people are saying Pokemon Sleep will be coming out on Pokemon Day too. So there's just so much going on that day. I think they're gonna release it before that. Now, it was early February at the beginning, which maybe they were planning to release it on the 7th, and they just didn't, and now they're saying mid-February or February. If it will be released in mid-February, I mean, it literally could be tomorrow. It could be released. Mid-February is probably anywhere from the 10th to the 20th. Today's date is... Wait, what is today's date? So today is the 10th, which means that if it is going to be released in mid-February, it probably will be released sometime in the next 10 days. I'm really hoping for it to be released like tomorrow. But I know a lot of people are too, but it's going to be released this month. That's the bottom line. And we only have like 19 more days in this month because it's leap year. So it will be out in just then. It will be out in the next 19 days. So I'm really excited about that. If you're excited, make sure to leave a like down below, subscribe, so all the new news that comes out about that, I will be covering on this here channel. So subscribe if you're new, hit that bell so you won't miss a video. But if you watched my video, or really anybody else's video going over the big Pokemon news we got a few weeks ago, you know that they did release the payment options and the premium versus unpremium versions. So, for a 1 month subscription, it is $3. For a 3 month subscription, it is $5, I think. And for a 1 year subscription, it is $16. Now, a lot of people, including me, are a little irritated that they would make you pay $16 for a year subscription for the premium version. But there is a lot in there. So if you're going to pay $16 for a year, I guess it's not terrible. It is for a year. But is it really worth it to pay the $16 for the year? Or should you just pay the 1 month or 3 month subscription fee? Well, the only real difference between the premium and the not premium is that there's an IV checker. That is literally it. You can literally do everything else on the app. You can just do more with those options with the premium option. The only thing that is not available with the premium is the IV checker. But hear me out. So, if you're checking the IVs of a Pokemon, then you're probably into competitive Pokemon. or in something, or in some, in some length. So you're going to be using them competitively. You want to have ones with good EVs and IVs. Well, every Pokemon game since like Sun and Moon has had an IV checker in the game, except for Let's Go Pikachu. Maybe, I don't remember if Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee did or not. Actually, I think they did. I don't remember. But so if you want to check your IVs of your Pokemon, check them in Pokemon once they're going to be moving from bank. I mean, because if they're in a different game, then just check them in the game. Check them in Sun and Moon or Ultra Sun and Moon. Check them in Pokemon Let's Go, or check them in Sword and Shield. Then you can have that, take a picture of it, or whatever you want, and then you have it. And then once you put them in Pokemon Bank, you're going to have no reason to use it. But if you don't want to do that in a sense, the only game right now that there is a competitive scene in right now is Sword and Shield. There probably is some more in Sun and Moon, but the VGC, the OU, and everything like that is just in Sword and Shield right now because they're out. So any Pokemon that you're gonna want to check the IVs, EVs and IVs for the competitive for Sword and Shield, you can just put them in Sword and Shield through home and check the IVs there. So honestly, there's not very much of a need to do that. If you really want the IVs, make sure to check them in the game that they're in before you put them into home. And then there's not really much of a reason. And that is really the only big thing. If you can use a Pokemon in Sword and Shield, you're going to be able to transfer them to Sword and Shield and check the IVs. If they're not available in Sword and Shield, you're not going to be able to use them competitively anyways. So, they'll just, when they're released for a future Pokemon game, I'm sure there'll be an IV checker in that game, so you just put them into that game and use the IV checker. See, so there's not too much of a need to do that. I can see why you would want to, but is it worth spending $16 for a year subscription just to check the IVs of the Pokemon when you can just do it in the respective games they originated in? I don't think so. I really, really don't. And now we'll get into the premium, the other parts but you can still do everything in this. Now, in order to transfer Pokemon from Pokemon Home, that was the other thing. So if you want to transfer Pokemon from Pokemon Home, or from Pokemon Bank to Pokemon Home, you do need the premium version. But that'll take all of them, unless you have an absurd amount of Pokemon in your Pokemon boxes, it's not going to take more than an hour or so to do. So if you pay $3 for the 1 month or $5 for the 3 months, just use that time frame to transfer them into Pokemon Home, and then you're never going to need to transfer them into Pokemon Home again, unless you're doing stuff in Ultra Sun and Moon and you want to keep transferring them over to Home. But to be honest, there's not too much of that. That's why I said I did make a video last Sunday going over everything that you should do before Pokemon Home comes out. So go and check that out, so that way you don't waste any time and you'll be completely ready when Home comes out. So there is that. So the only reason to enroll in the premium is to really just use the IVs checker and to transfer them from Pokemon Bank. And really, if you're only going to use the Pokemon Bank, just transfer them over one time, use the 30, just pay for the 1 month of the 3 month version. And then, unless you don't have any Pokemon from Bank, then I wouldn't even worry about paying for the premium at all. And then you have the Pokemon that can be deposited in the premium, or in the not premium version, it's 30, and in the premium version, it's 6,000. Now, what I think that means is Pokemon that can be deposited into Sword and Shield, maybe, but see, I don't think it's that. I think it means Pokemon from different games that can be deposited into Home at once. Now, I'm not totally sure what that means about the Pokemon that can be deposited. It's a little weird, but really, if it's like, oh yeah, you can have 30 Pokemon from Sword and Shield in there, that's really not that big of a deal. I'm not going to be transferring all my Pokemon from Sword and Shield over to Pokemon Bank or Home when it comes out. I'm not going to really be doing any of that. The only ones that I could really see people doing is transferring Pokemon from version to version. If you have a Pokemon from that you caught in Shield that you want in your Sword game, or vice versa, then to do that. And 30 Pokemon is a lot of Pokemon. If you're going to be doing 30 at a time, do you really need to transfer up to 6,000 at once, or deposit up to 6,000 at once? But not really. I think 30 is plenty. Just pick 30 I really don't think that it's worth the 30 versus 6,000. To me, 30 is still a lot. You can deposit 30 at once. You're not probably going to be needing more than that. That is the only other one, and I'm not totally sure what that means still. If it does mean that, you can only have 30 Pokemon deposited from, like, Sword and Shield, or 30 Pokemon deposited from any game into home, then I can kind of see why you would want to pay for the premium so you could have all your Pokemon in there. But at the same time, it's not really way too big of a deal. You could always just do $3 for a 1 month, transfer all your Pokemon over, and then not pay for the year, and then just deposit them when you want, and then when you want to transfer more than 30 again, just pay for the 1 month. To me, it's just not that big of a deal. And then you have the Wonder Trade box, which, if you guys didn't know, you can Wonder Trade Pokemon, and there's like in the not premium version, you can Wonder Trade 3 Pokemon at once. In the premium version, I think you can do like 9 or something like that, 8 or 9, so a bunch of them. But really, it's not worth it. Since Wonder Trade or Surprise Trade has been out, we have always been able to Wonder Trade 1 Pokemon. So it is not worth paying for the premium to Wonder Trade 9 versus 3. Wonder Trade 3, then just do that 2 more times, and then you did what you would have in the premium version. There's not really a sense of paying for the premium version just so you can Wonder Trade 9 Pokemon versus only 3. Which is, to me, that's kind of absurd that they would even do that, because I'm not even going to use the Wonder Trade box unless I'm doing like, I want to do a team for Pokemon Sword and Shield, but I want to do it all Wonder Traded Pokemon or whatever like that. Then you just have to do it with 3 Pokemon 2 times. Honestly, that'd be the only reason why I could see people doing it. And then you have the GTS. In the regular version, you can deposit 1 Pokemon in the GTS, and in the premium, you can deposit 3. Now, if you have, I don't really think it's that big of a deal. I can see why it is if you still need to complete your Pokedex, but a lot of people have completed their Pokedex, so they put the Pokemon into Pokemon Home, and unless you need to complete your Pokedex, there's not really going to be too much of a need to use the GTS. And if you do need to use the GTS, then just do 1 at a time. Again, paying for the premium version just to deposit 3 of them at once. If a lot of you guys, I don't know if you totally know what the GTS is, because they did get rid of it in Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, Let's Go Pikachu. So if you started playing Pokemon on the Switch, then you probably don't even know what the GTS is. It stands for Global Trading System. It's where you send up 1 Pokemon up into the GTS and say, hey, I want this Pokemon. You can specify the region that you want it from. You can specify the gender. You can specify the level, everything like that. You can't specify shiny versus not shiny. But so you could go through and say, hey, I want this Pokemon, and then you could go and be like, this guy wants this Pokemon, I have this Pokemon, and then you can trade it and stuff like that. But it did get to the sense where people were like, we want a level 1 Arceus for this shiny whatever, and it's not possible to get a level 1 Arceus. So they would do a lot of like trades that were not possible and stuff like that. And to be honest, I don't see this being any different in Pokemon Home, unless they have a way of saying, like, hey, you can't actually get that Pokemon legitimately, so you can't ask for it. So, like, a level 1 Arceus or something. So, they could end up doing that, but I don't know if they will or not. So you could just use the GTS to finish filling up your Pokedex set of all the Pokemon that you don't have. But again, I don't think it's worth paying for the premium version just to deposit 3 versus 1. I'm not going to be using the GTS at all. Like, I'm not even going to try to use the GTS because I have my Shiny Living Dex. So if I'm going to use them, if I'm going to use Pokemon competitively, I'm going to put them in Sword and Shield and breed for them. I'm not going to use the GTS. I mean, if you're going to use the GTS, you can't even use any of the Pokemon. Unless they originated in Pokemon Sword and Shield, you can't use them in VGC. So, or OU. At all, because they have to be originated in the Galar region. So there is that. And then there is the trading rooms, where you can go and you can just trade with a bunch of people that all go into one room. And the only difference versus the premium versus the unpremium is that you can host these rooms if you pay for the premium. And really, I just don't really think it's worth it either. I mean, you can participate in any of these rooms in the regular version. I mean, you can always do it with friends and stuff like that if you want to get a bunch of friends and put them into there. And then that means only one person has to have the premium. But, yeah. So that's all the differences between the unpaid version and the paid version of Pokemon Home. In my opinion, if you have Pokemon in Pokebank, pay for the 1 month or the 5 month, and you should be good. You don't need to worry about paying the one for the year, because all the differences from the regular version versus the premium version are not totally worth it, in my opinion. So, honestly, if you really want to use it to the full extent, then pay the $16. I'm not saying don't. I may end up doing it at some point, but as of right now, I am not wasting $16 for what I can do, what I'm going to use the premium version for a month or so, and then never going to worry about it again. Because really, you can use everything on there without paying. You can just do more with it if you do. And like I said, I don't think it's totally worth it. So, so try to complete your Pokedex on Ultra Sun and Moon, and then transfer them over, and then you won't have to worry about even using the GTS. But even if you don't, you can deposit 1 Pokemon at a time, and you've always only been able to do 1 at a time. So for us people who have been playing Pokemon for as long as I have, like 20 years, then you know that it would be nice to deposit 3, but we've always done depositing 1, so we're not going to have to pay to do what we've always done. We can just do it. But yeah, so like I said earlier, I did make a video last Sunday going over everything that I think you should do before Pokemon Home comes out. So that way, when Pokemon Home comes out, you will be completely ready to transfer all your Pokemon from Bank to Home. So go check that out if you haven't seen it. There are a bunch of different things. I think like 4 or 5 different things. And yeah. But other than that, guys, that is it. I really, really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like down below. Subscribe if you're new. Hit that bell so when I release a video, you don't miss it. But yeah, other than that, guys, that is it from me. I really hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Nitro General out. Peace.